I'm Jamie and I need to adjust this. And this is the vlog for August 19th, 2020. It's about 10:30 at night. I'm getting ready to go to bed shortly. I really got to stop doing these in bed because I yawn way too much. Um, but let's see, today was a very nice day outside. I took a detour after I dropped the kiddo off and went for a walk around Port Gamble, which is a really beautiful little idyllic old lumber town. Um, and watched some seals play and tried to make a vlog there, but it wasn't really working on my phone very well. So my phone memory tends to get full. I still have to figure out that hiccup. I love my Google phone, but that's kind of annoying. So anyway, I took the long way home, got some stuff done at home, and I think that that might be one of the reasons why I'm actually like getting to bed at a decent hour lately. With the kiddo back in for school and my nutrition certification done, um, I can be more productive in those couple of hours without her, than having to wait until after she falls asleep. I still want to move more and figure out my own workout schedule in here. But it's coming along. I mean, the nutrition certification I was something I wasn't sure I was ever going to finish. It took over a year of free time. And a lot of it was just learning how I study again and how I learn because whenever I go for certifications, I usually go in person. So I get to learn by listening to the people and by experimenting and being very hands-on. So a certification that I do at home with a giant textbook that I don't have handy, but it was literally this big, and a workbook that was this big, and then online portion as well. I kind of had to figure out how to slot that all in again and, relearn how I learn. Once I figured that out, flew through it in a matter of like maybe a month. But it was just so daunting at first that I put it off and I put it off and I put it off. So, um, my to-do list is still a mile long and it always will be. So I get done what I can and learning to stay balanced. Um, one thing I've discovered is that I have a finite amount of resources for emotional energy too. So I can only put so much energy towards the business and so much energy towards the house and the dogs and the kid and me and others. And balancing all of that out has been interesting. And I think a lot of people just don't know what to say when someone is deployed and there's like a holiday or catastrophe, like a pandemic or something like that. I get a lot of, gosh, I'm so sorry I can't be there. And I recently read an article that helped me understand that that's instead of me needing to comfort them, that's their way of trying to relate to the unusual situation we find ourselves in right now. Um, but there's still times where I just don't want to talk about it. So I just turn off my phone. I don't answer it. I don't. Um, I miss the days of actually having a house phone that rings. I mean, I have a house phone, but it's for emergencies only. Nobody really has the number. Um, and I miss the I miss not needing instant feedback. I mean, I'm as guilty as anyone else. When I send a text, I want to hear back, and I can't wait. Um, but I'm kind of reminding myself that I grew up in a generation that waited. We waited all the time. We finally got pagers, and that was a big deal. And I was in college when that happened. So, well, I think they happened when I was in high school, but it wasn't like a thing drug dealers didn't, had when I was in high school. And now it was a thing everyone has. And now pagers are practically a thing of the past. So, dating myself horribly. Um, Oh, well, that's one thing I wanted to talk about today. I was thinking about this when I was out at Port Gamble. It seems like kind of a leap here, but the mouse ears in the back there reminded me too. Travel, man, that is one thing I would like to get back to once. the business is built up more, and this COVID stuff is I want to say is behind us, but I think it's going to be something we just have to cope with from now on. Not to the degree we are today, staying at home all the time. If you're watching this in the future, um, delivery of groceries and stuff like that. But um, when we got to go on Disney cruise for Christmas, it was very apparent that a lot of people went and did this every year. I looked at the price tag and there's no way, or that would have to be a yearly tradition for us. Uh, it was incredibly expensive, prohibitively so. But that said, um, we got to interact with people from all over the world, which expands your worldview, even if it is a privileged group of people from all over the world. Um, at our dining table, there was a family from India who had a little girl who was a week older than Anara. So that was cool. They got to connect. And we had a black family sitting across from us, a mother and a daughter. And they had done this kind of cruise thing several times, and we were the newbies. And now cruise ships are question mark when they're ever going to sail again. They don't know either. Um, but when we went to, I think the stops were Cozumel, Grand Cayman, and Jamaica. Cozumel, Mexico. I mean, I lived 45 minutes from the Mexican border. Mexico is not incredibly exotic or exciting to me, but um, I really appreciate the way my parents raised me when it came to travel, because I learned you should learn something about every place that you go, because you never know if you're going to go there again. And the more you can learn hands on, the better. So we took a trip of the Mayan ruins out there. And the trip included the Mayan ruins, a tour of those, which was awesome. A tour of the Discover Mexico Museum, which was very cool as well. And a tour of a cocoa factory, a chocolate factory. All of those were fun. The Mayan ruins are really the big draw there. And then when we went to Grand Cayman, we didn't have any grand plans, so we just walked for a while and found a little beach to play on. But on top of the kiddo, learning about hermit crabs hands on for the first time outside of like a pet store or something like that. We also walked through a couple of little parks that had exhibits based on Grand Cayman's role in World War II, which was not big. But it was really fascinating to see what they did to prepare there. And in Washington State, we have all these great old forts and ruins of World War II forts out here on the Kitsap Peninsula that are astounding. I mean, they're really cool to go visit, and to think of what the world would look like if these forts actually had to be active and used is mind blowing. Um, anyway, so and then Jamaica was the one thing we didn't really do much about. We got out of the port, and it was just they had other cruise ships there, and the poverty level was so intense that it was difficult to tour without a guide. So we ended up just kind of walking around for like 2 blocks, turning around and going back in, um, but back into the port. But I mean, even that was an education, right? So every place I've been able to have some sort of hands-on education. And when I was, my kiddo's age, she's 5 now. So when I was very young and we traveled when I was with my family as a kid, we got hands-on a lot of things. And I used to think my life was boring. I made some pretty extravagant lies in my youth to try to spice up my story. Uh, the things I've had to beg forgiveness for in my 20s. But anyway, that portion is behind the extravagancy is behind me. But we did get to go to some pretty cool places, and with all of that in mind, it's been um it's been cool because I really feel like it expanded the way I see the world and how I see people and how people live differently, and my level of judgment regarding all of that. So I don't know. It changes you in ways you just can't quantify. it changes the lens you see things through. Um, and I'm grateful that I've had the opportunity to travel, and I hope that we get to do a bit more. Um, more than, yeah, I love the mountains and I love the beautiful wildlife of Washington, but more than just like renting a cabin in the woods somewhere, because I kind of live in the woods. And it's just kind of doing all the same stuff, just not here. But what are you gonna do? Welcome to COVID times. So, I've gone for 10 minutes. And I don't believe I've made a complete fool of myself. So I'm gonna stop before I totally put my foot in my mouth. I am Jamie, and I guess the sign off is today was pretty good. Tomorrow will be better.